32 minutes, 21 seconds. 5-second tone followed by a 1-second pause.
You are listening to Spaceboy Universe.
Okay, gang, let's go.
From the space city called Houston, Texas, welcome to Spaceboy Universe, featuring Spaceboy and the lovely Solana. So strap in and prepare for launch sequence. And remember, it's Spaceboy's universe, and you're in it.
It is my universe, and you should know that by now. Greetings, welcome, hello, howdy, whatever gets you right into the mood. This is Spaceboy, and I'm rocking it hard here in Houston, Texas. And this is show number 015, where we'll be talking tonight about 2016 productions and possibly topic roulette. Hey, it's feeling good tonight, I tell you. It is January 2nd, 2016. Our first show of the first year, new year. So, to get this gravy train going, if you want to follow along, our handle on Twitter is @the_SBUniverse. You can also hashtag us at #SBUniverse, or if you've got a question out there in Twitter universe, it's #SBUQ. Also, if you want to join in our sandpit, as we call it, you can go to our site, spaceboyuniverse.com, where if you look at the top, you can click the talk bubble, which will get you into our, I guess I'm just going to phrase sand pit. But before I go any further, to my immediate left is the lovely Solana. Say hello, Solana.
I didn't think you remembered I was here.
I do remember you're here. So say hello.
What?
There you go. So, with that said, yeah, the sand pit is where it's happening, and I guess that's what we'll be calling it, I guess, from here on out.
Like the pit of Sarlacc?
Yeah, I guess, but eventually Boba Fett makes it out. No spoilers there, but, you know. So, it's all good in the neighborhood. You can also go to the Spreaker page and look for Spaceboy Universe and find us there too. I believe that if you don't have an account, you can make one. It's fairly simple. It's free. Just dive right in and don't worry about the glass at the end, at the bottom of the pool. So, with that said, did I cover all my bases, Solana?
Yeah, sure.
Wow, okay. Smooth as X-Lax, right?
I'm not all here.
Okay, I know. I guess as you get into your Gatorade. Hey, fans, why don't you liven up Solana? Make sure to give her some good tweets out there so she can answer your questions out there. And we want to just look at the thing right now. We want to say howdy to Leanne. We want to say howdy to Dave Cruz from Beyond the Strange, whose show is tomorrow night. Great show, people. You should check it out. I see Catalina has joined us for a first time. Howdy to you, too. So, we've already started mixing the pot, and it looks good so far. So, with that said, we go into our transition of, so how are we tonight, Solana?
I think what happened was I took my 2-week vacation, literally. I thought I was on vacation from everything.
And you didn't realize...
And I hardly left the house.
Well, I thought I was on vacation too, but apparently I took on a project that has been sitting in our garage for over a year now.
You did project, and I did project.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've all been doing
yours involved back-breaking labor, and
yes.
Mine was on Illustrator.
Mm-hmm. You posted that picture. What did you do?
Yeah, I made it my Twitter background. I made it my Facebook background. I've tweeted it. I finally had this 2-year-long project I did in Illustrator, and I drove Leanne insane because Leanne is an artist, like old-school artist. She knows how to...
What's the picture about?
It's Janeway.
Okay.
Captain Janeway.
Tell us more about it.
It's Janeway in the Rosie the Riveter pose.
Cool.
I had that idea for 3 years.
I was very excited because I remember earlier this year, like you were
just in time for you know who.
Oh yes, which we're excited about that. Our next week's guest is going to be Manu I can't believe
Interreme.
Thank you, Interreme.
We're overcomplicating.
Yes, we're overly complicated. Anyway, but yeah, he'll be our next week's guest. In case you don't know him, he used to play Ichep on Star Trek Voyager, and so he'll be our next week's guest, and we're very excited about that.
I gotta go bone up on Renegades and go watch some Voyager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good stuff, and then plus, we'll talk about other things of interest in his universe and see what he does, and from what I've read, it's quite interesting.
I want to get his take on if he could talk about what Universal Paramount is doing to Star Trek.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because apparently,
or if he can talk about
it. CBS/Paramount is being a major horses platoon, because it's involving Axanar, the program crowdfunded to create a show that basically takes place, I guess, after Enterprise and right before Star Trek Enterprise, the old series or the original series or however you mix it up. And apparently CBS got on their big boy pants and said, no, you're copyright infringing and we can't make any money. And that's how that went down. And so what bugs me about that is that you have other fan created shows like the continuing voyages of Star Trek. I don't know if you've seen any clips of that.
No, I didn't know about that.
But yeah, there's that out there, and it's done really well. It's got Grant Imahara in it from MythBusters.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's in it. So plus it's got. And I know I'm going for brain fart again, but I guess it's James Doohan.
Son
is in it. Yes, that's correct. And it looks awesome. I mean, as far as the color, the imagery, I've heard that they've hired on people. But the long story short of that is, you have something like that that's been going on for some time, and yet CBS hasn't done anything. I think what has really, got CBS in a twine on this one is because the production value is phenomenal. I mean, it looks really good.
Well, I thought as long as you weren't turning a profit, they didn't care, but apparently they don't want. They're just. I don't know what their problem is, but I'm not real happy with them.
Well, yeah. Basically, that's what the thing was that I understood is they're not really turning a profit. I mean, they're breaking even. They're putting all the money into the production, and it's. Fans out there listening tonight, if you get a chance, check out Axanar. Hopefully, CBS hasn't banned them off of YouTube or anything like that.
Well, that's how I'm going to. See these things for research for the coming week,
Mm-hmm. Which also, that's something we can ask Manu as far as in reference to.
Have they had any issues with that?
With Renegades, being kind of like in that Star Trek universe. The interesting thing is, I don't want to get too far into that show.
We don't get too far.
Is that it doesn't really feel like a Star Trek show, and I think that's why they've worked hard about doing that, and I think that they've kind of lived up to what CBS says not to do as far as involving Vulcans. That's our property, or phasers, or things. So they've stayed away from it. Yeah, it's a slippery slope that they've done with these fan made shows. But like I said, Axanar is like beyond any other ones. I mean,
so instead of Vulcans, I say, "Oh, look at those pointy-eared beings."
Well, I don't want to give Renegades away.
No,
but I don't recall there being a Vulcan in that. Well, I could be wrong. I think Tim Russ.
I gotta check it out. I haven't checked any of that out. I was waiting so I could have it more fresh in my mind.
Well, now is the time to get your research on, because we're going to have Manu next week. So.
Did it seem like there is 2 weeks between Saturdays? Because it seems like by the time we get to a Saturday, 2 weeks have passed.
It does seem like an awful long time since our last broadcast.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is. So, I've been doing shelves and stuff like that. That was my project.
For our Nerd Knacks.
Nerd Knacks, trademarked by Solana.
Yeah.
I love that. It's a great name.
You promptly stole it from me.
No,
dang it.
I give you props.
If I copyright something, do you get 50% just because I'm married to you?
Well, I would hope you would toss me a penny or two. So Well, at least buy me a drink or something.
I get you some French fries.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah,
like 3 or 4 of them.
I was very excited. Finally built the shelves, and there's pictures out there, and we were able to pull out some of the nerd knacks that
we had carefully stored and packed, jinged them away.
Yeah, with I have my source that I go to for all my comics and graphic novels and other toys like that, and we have a ton more ships. I said ships. My mouth is dry.
Just don't make sure.
Yes, I'm good. So I'm going to do something that really breaks the rules here. Let me just take a little sippy.
Don't be stealing other people's trademark things.
No, I love Bunny. I think she's adorable.
I'd love to talk to her.
Yeah, maybe someday we will. Who knows? We're referring to Bunny, who is also known as Graveyard Girl, and you can find her on YouTube.
She's a Houstonian.
Well, I think she lives out in Pearland, but
that's where a P.O. box is.
Yeah, but it's just the same. She's a part of the Houston community. The thing is that she's quite an interesting lady and adorable, to say the boot. And so maybe one day we can get her on. So, switching from that, did you know Burger King? Not Burger King. Oh, please forgive me. Whataburger was voted 2015's best burger in America.
I was kind of shocked because I didn't think Whataburger was all over America. I thought it was only in the South.
Yeah, it is only in the South. I think it's predominantly here in Texas, but they voted it the best burger. Now, I got to say, there's going to be some of y'all that say...
It's a little salty for me.
Well, let me get into the thing is, what about In-N-Out Burger? It's really good. Now, I personally can't vouch for In-N-Out Burger, although I've come close to eating there a couple of times when we were out towards L.A. Never got the chance. I'm sure that it's tasty, but here in Texas, Whataburger, you would be remiss not to have it. It is a good burger to eat and delicious, and so well served for Whataburger for winning that award. Speaking of game news, Sega. Well, I don't think it's Sega per se. It's a group of. I'm sorry.
We can hear you doing that.
Well, I can hear you type. I'm sorry if my scalp had to itch.
Well, I asked for a quieter keyboard and mouse.
Well, maybe next Christmas. So, there is something in the mix about crowdfunding a new Dreamcast, too, for Sega.
Is that necessary?
Well, I mean, I've seen pictures of the thing. It looks pretty tight, and it would be competitive with Xbox and PlayStation.
Now, is that... Well, I'll get into that with our predictions. There's more about that area.
But yeah, there's things out there where they're trying to crowdfund it, and I believe that the group that's trying to do that, they're trying to approach Sega, and they've put the thing on the table. The only thing that concerns me about that is the crowdfunding option, is that they want to do 1 million units, and it'll be interesting to see if they can do that.
Might be something to ask.
And that is something I will be talking with our guest on Data Bytes this Wednesday. K28 is going to join us in a podcast situation where we'll record it, and then it'll be available for you to listen to. Data Bytes is something we were kind of experimenting before this year, and
we just didn't have anything to talk about before.
But the thing is, with Data Bytes, it'll be just randomness, and it might tie into our pre-production for our shows. So it'll be like a pre-production for Spaceboy Universe on Saturday nights, and our first guest that night will be K28. K28. Did I say it? K28? Minus the circus pants. Yes. So.
Circus pants?
Yeah. Circus peanuts.
Oh.
There we go again. Anything else on your list that's out there?
You didn't tell me to have a list.
You told me about this book you were reading, and it was kind of interesting.
Oh, I won't go get into that. No,
you're not going to bore our audience with that book?
No. I'm amazed you even asked me what I was reading.
Well, I do. I find you're a part of my universe, so why wouldn't I?
That was like the first time. I'm like, man, he must have looked at every social media. He must have visited every web page before he talked to me about this.
Look, with all due
respect, he ran out of things to do.
No, I mean, you're a part of the universe. I want to know what's going on, what you read. Instead, you're like, what do you want to know? Get away from me. And I'm like, dear, do I need to give you some space? you hulk out on me and I get a little scared. So I guess with that, if you don't have anything to bring to the table, no, she shrugs her. That's good language for a radio show. Shrug your shoulders. Well, let's go ahead and take our first break, and when we come back, we'll go ahead and get this show into gear, and we'll start talking about predictions of 2016, and maybe Solana will wake up a little bit.
I'm from another planet. Can you hear me? Answer me. Can you hear me? Answer me.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Hey, Solana!
What?
If Spaceboy Universe was cheese, would you eat it? Come on now, it's a simple question.
Maybe?
SpaceboyUniverse.com. Do you have a great product or an idea? Then Spaceboy Universe is looking for you. We invite you to contact us at contact@spaceboyuniverse.com. Be a part of the universe. Be a part of Spaceboy Universe.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Solana.
Well, we have one monkey out of the thing here, and he's already saying that he's hoping for bright orange index cards. Well, that's you.
That's me.
I guess
you need to read Les's tweet.
Yeah, I know Les was talking about something about circus pants. Well, if I get some, I will send them to you, my friend. So, and there'll probably be plenty of pictures.
I'm tweeting
courtesy of Solana. So, it is a new year, and we are bright and hopeful for this year to come. And, we're glad that December's over because it was, for us, it was just depressing and we were ready to move on. We were like throwing the 2015 trash away, and we're done with it. So we're gone. It's a new year. So, Solana, since I've been gabbing up the storm at the beginning of the program, do you want to take the reins and tell us a little bit about what's on your tablet over there?
Well, only if you're ready.
Oh, I'm ready. Bring it on.
Well, you're hopeful. You're what I call a hopeless optimist. I have not replied to anybody's tweets or Facebook posts or social media that has wished me Happy New Year because it just isn't going to be one. It's just going to get so much worse.
See, we are truly opposites. I try to be hopeful and positive, and you're only happy when it rains.
And when it's cold and rainy. I like that best.
Yes.
Which it is tonight.
Yes.
So I'm moderately pleased. Mm-hmm. Before we get to that, would you like to know some cool predictions from the past about the future?
Golly gee whiz, I sure would.
Okay. In 1660, a guy named Robert Boyle predicted the future would have cure of diseases at a distance, or at least by transplantation. So he figured out that we would have organ transplants.
When was this again?
1660. So he would have been thought of as wacky.
Well, that is definitely interesting.
In 1783, Ezra Stiles, president of Yale University, predicted America's population would reach 300 million in 200 years. Over 200 years later, we made it.
Well, I mean, unless something major happens to the planet, I mean...
Well, let's see. Alexis de Tocqueville wrote Democracy in America in 1840, and in this little piece of literature, he predicted Russia and America would be the biggest societies, and we would thirst for power so much to get predominance over everyone and each other that this would affect the whole world. And I think that's pretty much shown itself to be true.
Yeah.
In 1863, there were only 60 elements on the periodic table, or 60 elements were known at that time. A Russian chemist, Dmitry Mendeleev, designed a periodic table that predicted the weights and properties of the missing 40-plus elements perfectly. And here's something you might know. In 1865, Jules Verne predicted the Apollo moon landing when he wrote about humankind's first trip to the moon in a short he titled From Earth to the Moon. He even knew the rocket launch would happen from Florida.
But if the moon was made of cheese, would you eat it?
Oh, heck yeah.
It's a simple question.
Screw the tides. And of course, 1909, Tesla predicts wireless devices, more or less.
Or creates.
By saying it'll be possible to transmit wireless messages all over the world so simply that any individual can own and operate his own apparatus. 1909.
I wonder what he would have thought about drones and all that stuff now.
I'm sure he'd have been for it is something that would be helpful, but I don't think he'd be happy about the spy aspect. 1914, H.G. Wells' novel, The World Set Free, described a city-destroying atomic bomb.
Speaking of H.G. Wells, this is the time where I recommend a movie, which we haven't seen yet. It's Time After Time. It has H.G. Wells coming to the future of San Francisco, and Mary Steenburgen's in it, and I can't remember, Malcolm McDowell is in it, and it even has a character, I can't think of his name, but it'll come to me later. Sorry I interrupted.
Now here's one I never heard before, and this is really kind of interesting. 1987, Roger Ebert predicted video-on-demand services like Netflix and Hulu. He said we will have high-definition, widescreen television sets and push-button dialing system to order the movie you want at the time you want it. He said this in an interview in Omni magazine. All hail Omni, long live Omni. Of course, Omni's long gone, but man, that was a cool magazine. Also, 2015, did you know? 2015 is the first year that mobile internet traffic overtook desktop internet traffic.
Yeah, I could see it, but it's amazing.
And one more tidbit. 2015 was the 200th anniversary of Wellington's defeat of Napoleon at Waterloo in 1815. Just some little fun facts.
All right, so we go from fun facts to fun future?
Yes. 2016, we're already in it.
Yes, we are.
Okay, so, the Spaceboy universe is comprised of these different components. Is what history, pop culture, technology, fringe science, and music. Did I get them all? So I tried to find one in every
category.
And then I just decided I'm just going to get stuff that I'm interested in. So
that's usually how it goes down, but please continue.
Well, because a lot of it's tech related, and that's what you're in that field, I'm in that field as far as our careers. So of course that's what we'd be most interested in. So some things are going to be cool and some things are going to get worse. So one thing that's going to get worse is there's going to be more hacking than ever. I even read where even iPhone users are not going to be immune. We're going to have, all our anything that identifies what we do.
Well, let me say on that, though, with the iPhone is what drives me nuts is that I'll go to a news article, and I'm reading, and then all of a sudden it says, this app would like to take you to a different place, and then takes you to the iTunes store to buy some stupid app that they're promoting, and it makes me...
Oh, I get that on the phone all the time.
I hate that.
You kind of accidentally click something, too.
I don't accidentally click anything. I'm reading an article, and I'm getting into it, and I'm like trying to scroll, and all of a sudden my phone freezes up, and then all of a sudden, bam! I'm like looking like, wouldn't you like to play Tutti Fruits? I don't want to play Tutti Fruits. I want to read the article I went there. How does Tutti Fruits tie in to an article I'm trying to read?
I don't know, but now I'm interested.
Tutti Fruits.
Is it like Circus Pants?
It's probably. That's coming this future of Circus Pants and Tutti Fruits.
Another thing we might see more of is this concept of ransomware, where hackers break into your computer, encrypt your data, and then you have to pay them to release your data back to you.
Now, I have seen this at work where it is not pleasant, but a trained professional can easily get that fixed, but it is a tizzy of a problem. And I love getting them at work in the sense of watching a user squirm, like, oh my God, I can't get my data, and blah, 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 blah. And I tell them, well, I guess you shouldn't have been going somewhere on the internet then, shouldn't you? So anyway, you can...
Yeah. They say hackers are going to focus more on cloud-stored data, which is why I don't put anything of mine anywhere. I don't trust anyone.
I don't like the cloud. I mean, it's useful in some aspects, but... I'm not a big cloud user for that simple fact that having my data out there, I mean, how can I trust people? I mean, like you were saying, Apple, this could be the year of the hack for them. And I mean, and it does. I mean, it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's a really pain in the circus pants.
Hackers will focus more on cloud data, and they're going to have more phishing. This is phishing, phishing, that really looks legit. This is where they send an email or text that really seems legitimate and official, like it's from your bank or someplace, and you're going to fall for it. And they say there will be targets on online banking on your phone. If you've got an app that does, your banking and bill pay, they're going to start targeting these. And there'll be more cyber attacks on banks, on their websites and their back end. And they're going to be harder to trace. There'll be more data breaches in healthcare industry, which is odd because they said selling medical insurance information is really hot ticket on the black market. And I guess this is like, the dark web.
Well, think about what's on medical information. You have Social Security numbers, you have driver's license IDs numbers, date of births. I mean, and some of these, I remember reading an article not too long ago about a medical agency throwing away important documents like that, So, yeah, I could see the hack is on for these people.
I don't know what is in medical insurance data that's such a commodity, but if they say so, it must be so. Now, one of these things that they're going to try to do, which sounds like, oh, wasn't that convenient, but it really scares me, is putting RFID technology into every single object in your house, including your kitchen, your laundry, your fridge, your stove, your dishwasher, your clothes washers, just your lights, your lamps, everything. So this is supposed to create what is known as an ambient intelligence. So, like when you walk into a room, all your devices and whatnot know you're there and how
I've just had this image like
is aware of your presence.
Some lonely person before didn't have any contact whatsoever, and now I'm opening the door to be greeted by my circus pants. But that's a different story altogether. But can you imagine coming home and like, hey, you're going to need some milk pretty soon, or...
they're saying they will go reorder your milk. I'm like, well, what if you're broke and you can't pay for the milk? Does it know?
Hey, I'd like to order you some milk, but you are flat broke right now.
Well, the goal is to get trillions of objects online and connected to the internet. And then when you run out of a supply of something, it automatically gets ordered, which... Amazon has this already with these dash buttons you can affix to appliance and just push the button and it'll get sent to you. But there's this woman, and I can't pronounce her last name. Her name is Helen, and it's Douce. Deuce. Let's hope. Wants this to happen. She wants all these devices and objects to have this RFID chip. And I don't know what she's got in store, but to quote Professor Farnsworth, I don't want to live on this planet anymore. Now, for the more benign stuff, far as gaming technology, VR, virtual reality technology will really take off. It'll go very slow, and then at some point it's just going to go crazy. Now, there are some people out there who've got their hands on the Oculus Rift, which is something you put over your eyes, and it goes behind your head, and you strap it on. And there's only been, I guess they only send them to people who will really get the word out there. Like, for instance, PewDiePie.
Start building the business up.
Yeah. So he does Let's Play. He's done some Let's Play videos where you get to see what it looks like he's looking at through the Oculus Rift. And this is completely immersive as far as visual, and you got your headphones on too. And you could see some other people. And I don't think it's been very prevalent in the consumer market. I mean, unless you can really pay for it. But there's also Microsoft's HoloLens headset, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and Sony PlayStation VR.
Right.
Yet, this year, interest in wearable technology has not been what they thought it was, like for the Apple Watch and Google Glass. So there is a rumor that Google Glass may have a comeback this year.
On that same subject, I've also heard that it's going to be big this year, but it's going to pop like a bubble. But even though it pops, it's still going to come back, kind of like a reset. But the virtual headset thing is the wave of what's coming. But beyond that, the technology...
It's still going to make me sick.
Yeah, well...
We can't play first-person shooter games just on the regular monitor without getting sick.
The future of gaming, some of the things I've seen have been really cool. Like, for example, you put the system in your... I guess it's a system that goes above your head, and then it turns your whole room into a playable area. So, like, if you were playing, like, a shoot-up aliens game, aliens would pop out of the walls, and you would shoot the walls.
I don't need that. I'm already paranoid.
There was another one I saw where they had a castle thing where it sat on a table, your normal coffee table, and you did, I guess, medieval battles on your table, and you could see it on your table. So the technology that's coming down the pipe on that looks very cool. But as far as getting back to like
the potential to drive your cat insane is very good with that.
But the virtual reality sets, that's definitely going to be interesting this year.
Something I hope to God this is true. Please let this be true. If we get nothing else, if we can't have peace on earth, if we can't feed the hungry, if we can't cure all the diseases, please can we have this? 2016 may be the last year of Flash.
Oh God, I'm looking forward to that being flushed down the commode.
I know they're trying to retool Flash or something, or rebrand it, rename it to pretend like it's something new and different, but it ain't.
Well, I think that they need to get the HTML5 thing out of their rear end and then get this going. And
well, what they're saying is going to replace is something called WebGL, and I looked it up. It's just JavaScript that does all that same functions. It will support 3D and 2D games, and it's not a plug-in for your browser. It just does it. And it's starting to get more prevalent, so let's keep our fingers crossed.
I can only assume Steve Jobs is smiling from heaven because he, how he loathed Flash and just, I guess...
With good reason.
Yeah.
With good reason. I see why he doesn't support it, but... And as far as more tech stuff, so 4K DVD will be the only way to get 4K content for your shiny new ultra high def TV. So upgrade all your stuff. Meanwhile, we'll just try to make it through on our broke 32-inch.
A side thing on that is what's coming down the pipe on TVs, and I've seen this, and it's really awesome, is flexible screens. So basically, imagine, if you will, your normal TV about the thickness of half an inch. But at the same time, it's flexible. It can bend. You could put it on any wall, and I mean, that technology is coming, and I mean, it'll have the same 4K resolution and all that good stuff. So yeah, but yes, what you're saying there, Solana, is that well, you can't have a Blu-ray player standard that's now. So what makes me mad about that is this going to be the final nail in the coffin? Will people finally go completely digital for their content instead of having by medium?
Well, interesting segue you did there. You set me up. Vinyl is in such high demand that the few factories left pressing it are at maximum capacity. But it's kind of having a slowdown. Even print is showing some signs of a comeback. More people are returning to physical books than to ebooks on Kindle. So were we too quick to throw out all the old legacy things and embrace this new stuff without realizing what we lost?
I think this comes a lot from the millenniums, that they want to return to the basics and that technology is not necessarily the thing. And so we could see, because I do see a lot of TV shows I watch that they like to, like, for example, American Pickers. They basically go out into the wilderness out there and find rare picks and all this other stuff and repurpose things for reuse and using that old technology. I think it's exciting to bring back records. I mean, because the quality, I mean, you can duplicate a lot of things digitally, but there's something about listening to a record. It's
even the popping and hissing?
The popping, the hissing, the imperfections. I think that's what people miss, is that we miss the imperfections. Everything's not perfect. I think you'll agree on that statement, is that we do not live in a perfect universe. To make things feel real, it's almost like the movie The Matrix. They couldn't figure out how to make it perfect for everybody. In fact, when they made a perfect universe for everybody for The Matrix, they revolted. So they had to make it slightly imperfect to make
believable, or
to make it more believable.
Well, in another area I read, it said not only will people keep embracing physical books, but they're only going to go to the discount trade bookstore. It's not going to be Barnes & Noble anymore. In fact, they predict more Barnes & Noble stores will be closing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have to agree on that, because they're overly priced as they
really are.
And then what really drives me mad, as you know, as a college student, as I've been, I just cannot understand paying like $120 to $100, almost $200 for a textbook. I think that's robbery. I think
see, that's what I was hoping, is that we would get away from these scams for textbooks, where like, we're not going to do that anymore. Oh, well, there's a new edition. So all these other editions that are in the bookstore that are, rentals and cheap, they're no good anymore. And such a scam.
And that's been I have been a big proponent of going online to find them on Amazon. And then also when, I prefer to buy a book, I prefer to buy it digitally when it's a textbook. Mm-hmm. And actually it works out pretty good, because when I did history, it was great to do a scan to search for terms. And
I used my Kindle Fire. I wasn't using it until I got into grad school, short-lived grad school, and I got to download some of the text as ebooks, and you could still go in there and highlight. And like you said, you could search for a specific word, and it shows you where every instance of that word is on every page, and you could go right to it. And you can annotate it. You could put your own notes. You could highlight a word and put your notes on it. You could search your own notes. Mm-hmm. Oh, it was awesome. I missed grad school. I just couldn't afford to finish it. So I will not abandon ebooks. If it's just me and Kindle Unlimited alone, I'll keep it alive.
I imagine that you probably, you've taken that like duck to a water. With the ebooks, it probably is so easy for you to here's another one. Boom, here's another one.
Piece of candy.
Yeah, piece of candy.
Piece of candy. Another thing, consumer solid-state discs are now 50 cents a gig. And even the high-performance PCI Express cards like Intel's 750 single solid-state discs are dropping to $1 a gig. So there's no reason to get a spinning hard drive for a boot disk anymore. So I'm thinking we've seen the end of the spinning hard drive.
Mm-hmm. That is something I'm seeing coming down the pipe. In addition to that, we're about to make a quantum leap in computers. When I say that, the scuttlebug out there is to start manufacturing quantum computers. And that's a game changer right there. We're talking about making the jump from...
I don't even know what that means unless you're talking about tiny computers, subatomic particles.
At its basic, a quantum computer can tell you yes and no at the same time. So it can explore.
So I can't fool the computer anymore with simple logic.
I mean, it'll be able to. It'll blur the lines at some point where when we talk to computers in general, are we talking to a real person or is this an AI? I mean,
is this the real life,
or is it just
fantasy?
So
is it Betamax?
That is coming, whether it's coming this year or the following year. It's coming quick, and so maybe that's something as a future show that we could talk about. What is it called? The Singularity, where technology and man meet. And
oh yes, I again, when I was in grad school, there was I was looking at all these theories, new media theories, and I can't remember the woman's name, but there's this new media theorist woman who is scared to death about technology and humans merging to become like Borg or something. And I would have to read you these quotes that are in these PDFs I got from the class, and it's just, I mean, I understand now, but the way it was worded was hilarious. I'll have to go find that. Okay. Like I said, I hope that textbooks get replaced by things like interactive videos that can constantly updated and edited and reshot. But the thing is, what would be nice to replace textbooks is still I worry about the content. Are they like if you're doing all your history instead of a textbook, you're doing lectures and they're sending you to websites or they're making you go to the library. How do you know that the stuff they're telling you is the truth? Because I think Gordon told us one time. Our friend Gordon said that. Is this
like the Wikipedia question?
Yeah, where they're going back and rewriting history. They're pulling down Civil War monuments because they're like, oh, we don't make any references to what happened in the past.
We don't want to offend anybody. We go.
My gosh! Then we're going to forget it completely, like it never happened.
Well,
and that's not the right thing to do.
My biggest thing about you, if you don't learn from history, you're going to be doomed to repeat it. So it doesn't make any sense for us to try to erase history in that sense if we don't, So, I mean, but textbooks could already lie. Sure, the printed ones, but I don't know what the answer is. Well,
a truthful medium that you can put against a lie detector?
I hate to play the devil's advocate against Texas here, but that tends to happen quite often since Texas is one of the biggest states in the union. The manufacturers of these books tend to see, okay, well, do you approve these books, Texas? I mean, are these acceptable
for public
use? And then some other states will I don't like that. I don't like that content. Why are we bound by what Texas wants as far as books? Well, it comes down to the mighty dollar. Is because we have so many people here, we're going to purchase so many books, so they're going to tend to write books for what we're wanting to get here.
The episode, the show where we did on cryptids a couple weeks ago, I was trying to find info on specifically Louisiana cryptids. And I would put in that Louisiana cryptids, monsters, blah, blah, blah. And I couldn't get past I was looking for the myths, and I couldn't get past news articles on it, like legit news. I'm like, what is this? And all the news articles about Louisiana cryptids was saying Louisiana textbooks now say that the Loch Ness monster is a real animal. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. Can I just look at some myths, please? And that was page after page after page of results of Louisiana and textbooks and Loch Ness.
I think that
my home state.
If they're going to teach that in science, they should teach it as fringe science. There's no proof out there.
Hey, a whole course in fringe science would be cool.
That would be cool. I'd sign up for that.
You could probably do that at the university I work at. The English department has a course on sci-fi. It's a course on UFO invasions, alien invasions in film and literature. That's a legit credited course. So
sounds cool.
Onward and upward with what's going to happen in 2016 with tech. Apple, let's talk about Apple really briefly. Apple TV streaming service, still going to be there. There'll be an Apple iPad 3. But this may be the end of MacBook Air.
Really?
Yeah. The Apple II Watch will have a trade-in program where you could put 2015's, you could send them your 2015 Apple Watch and they'll give you the 2016.
For a discounted price, probably.
Probably.
But, yeah.
iPhone 7 will have wireless charging and 2K Retina display. And Apple iPhone, they had a dip for their sales for the iPhone, so that might boost the sales for 2016. And like I said, vinyl is having its last big growth spurt. Now, as far as music, Amazon Prime is going to make a move to create Amazon Prime Music and get serious and have its own streaming music service.
Okay. That's interesting. Now, flipping back to what you said earlier about the phone or the watch, I could see why they would want to do that. Think about this. Follow me on this. Is that you buy the latest watch as a consumer here, and in order for iPhones and all that other stuff to go to the next generation, they need people to buy it. So what they do is they buy it and trade it in. So what they do with the old one is refurbish it for other countries that are developing so that they can buy that equipment. I've seen that where, for example, like RIM Technologies, the Crackberry, that basically all these phones that people don't really want them here because they've gone to these new and exciting smartphones. They're starting to probably develop a market in third world countries using their technology with the Blackberries and stuff. Cheaper technology, which would allow them. It's kind of the same situation where upgrade. We'll take the technology that you're returning, refurbish it, repurpose it, and give it to your cousin or your younger sister.
There's some things I'm hanging on to. Like I have a, it's got to be 10 inches or less, maybe. Yeah, 10-inch TV VCR combo in a closet. And then, I don't know if it still works, but I hope it does, just because I want to keep it. And I still have a Walkman that plays cassette tapes just because I don't want to get rid of it. I don't know if it works, but, I just don't want to.
Right.
So another prediction is that's pretty safe bet. Mortgage rates will rise, and that will affect us. And that's the end of the, solid, plausible, predictable things for 2016. Now I got some stuff that's a little bit more out there.
Okay.
So this one, I think some people who are listening with us right now on Spreaker Chat can probably sink their teeth into this stuff. Okay, I read.
Stop right there. I've got a.
Oh, you got to do a.
I got a question for Catalina. Catalina says, "Can a VHS tape be converted to DVD?"
Yeah,
there is some technology that you can do.
Hardware and software.
In fact, it used to be you could take it to your Photoshop place at Walmart and stuff, and they could do the conversion. You could send it in, but now that Walmart's pretty much taking those those out, But yeah, there is technology that you can use to convert from cassette to DVD.
Maybe this is old or something, but it was a unit that had a VHS in one side and a DVD player in the other side, and I think that's what did it.
No, I think those came out because people trying to convince people to go to the DVD format. But there is a piece of technology I've seen where you can record. I mean, we do have a DVD recorder that's in the storage room. Along with other ancient technology that we've acquired.
My favorite thing was I had this just little shelf unit stereo. It had twin cassette player, and it had a 5 CD changer at the top, and it was FM AM radio. I figured out how to use the auxiliary line in, line out, hook it up to my PC sound card, and I could play cassette tapes, like store-bought cassette tapes,
right,
and save them as MP3s. That was so much fun. I loved when I figured out how to do that, but don't need it anymore.
So I sidetracked you with that question, but go ahead and continue with your train of thought.
You want me to continue, or do we need...
No, I know we missed our bottom of the break. You want to take a quick break?
Would you like to take a break?
Let's take a quick break.
Let's just take a break before we get into the out there stuff.
All righty. Before we get out there, which we are a part of the universe, we'll take this break. And where is my music? Come back to me.
That's a good.
There we go.
There you go.
Got that Spaceboy jamming music going. When we return, we'll go with the out there predictions, and hopefully we'll get some of your calls coming in. 713-701-5214, people. You know that number. Call in.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, the #1 broadcast on Omicron Persei 8.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
All right, we're back. And Dennis, just a quick code there. Thanks. We appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up. We appreciate you. Anyway, you were saying, Sir Lana?
Oh, let me get back to that screen.
Sorry, I didn't mean to distract you.
All right, here's something we can sink your teeth into. Okay, 2016. They're saying that before Obama leaves office, he will announce that alien life has been detected. Before he leaves, he's going to prepare the public, let us know that we're not alone, and then probably go, see ya.
And we find out it's been in...
And not only this, but no less a figure than, can't say this without laughing, Hillary Clinton says she's going to look in and get to the bottom of this whole UFO alien thing. Yeah, it's as good hands there. Along with Obama's advisor, John Podesta.
And they found the alien life living in Biden's hair plugs.
Oh, I thought it was in her wig.
Well, I know that you're out there doing that.
Yeah, but I think that's a juicy tidbit for...
I guess tying into this, I know, this is not a political show by any stretch of the imagination, so don't grill us for...
I could give you my personal opinion, but that would absolutely divide the universe. So.
Anyway, the thing is that I believe that Donald Trump's going to win the GOP, but I believe Hillary is going to be our next president.
Just because Donald Trump wins the GOP?
Well, no. It also ties into John Hogue. Is it Hogue? Or he does the Nostradamus predictions. Well, anyway, he has seen Hillary being our next president, too, as a prediction. But the thing is that it's one of those history repeats things. If you look at the history, he's comparing her to, like, Nixon. So Nixon was great at the beginning and did wonderful things, but then all of a sudden he got caught up into the Watergate scandal. So that could be what's in store for Hillary, according to what he's saying. So please continue.
To quote Professor Farnsworth one more time, I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
But one can only hope for.
Well, the thing, I'll pause since I don't have a whole lot of these. I've been watching a lot of Dr. Steven Greer. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't get into this without expressing my own personal opinion.
What, you got an opinion?
Yeah, I try to keep them away from the universe, but it's difficult. I don't believe in alien life. Sorry. So anyway, I really think that some of what Dr. Greer's saying is very plausible, like false flags, these manufactured life forms. He says elaborate stagecraft to make you think you're being abducted, to make it look like they're UFOs. Mm-hmm. A lot of stuff he says is very plausible and scary until he starts talking about where he's made contact with these aliens. Then I kind of start tuning out. But up to that point, all the world leaders he's talked to, the stories he has to tell when they contact him and he gets ready to talk to them and they disappear. Mm-hmm. It's pretty interesting stuff.
A lot of freaky deaky stuff going on. and I think that we can just go on the record here that we're thinking about doing a show on Mr. Greer.
Just the stuff he
Dr.
says,
Greer.
because it's really interesting stuff up until he starts talking about contact with these beings. I don't even know about that. I'm not trying to judge. I'm just saying I don't personally believe in that.
While she rolls her eyes.
Yeah. So, I read on a website that somebody's predicting that Putin will disappear mysteriously.
Well, that's funny.
And I'm trying to put that in a nice, non-threatening way.
You bring that up, but this past year there was a moment where he was missing for a few days, and nobody knew where he was.
That was Kim Jong-un, wasn't it?
No. This was Putin. Putin went up missing, and nobody knew where he was. And then, of course, he came back because they thought he had gotten sick and something and whatever. And so, yeah, there was something earlier this year where he was missing. I can't remember exact dates on that. But, with the way things are going, I wouldn't be surprised if something does go down like that.
Okay, now, this stuff's going to get kind of heavy, so if you're in a good mood, you might want to just turn off right now. Of course, this is nothing new. The collapse of the world economy will happen in 2016, and I'm like, well, I'm tired of waiting for this. Let's just get on with it, for heaven's sake. A prediction is a fast-spreading virus will be intentionally released on humans, or some other depopulation event. Could be environmental.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for instance, major eruption of Mount Vesuvius, Mount St. Helens, or the super volcano under Yellowstone National Park, which is a bummer because I really wanted to see that.
Or
Not the volcano, but just the park.
Do they call it Caldera?
Caldera?
Yes. But that's just a big mess, hot mess waiting to happen.
And this Nostradamus, I have to make sure I say that right because I have a little affectionate nickname for him you don't want to know. Says that humans in 2016 will learn finally how to communicate with animals. It'll be back and forth. I'm like, okay. The Western world will revolt and abolish all taxes. I'm like, can we get that started now? An asteroid impact will kill 1.2 billion people. Now, this one is more in the realm of plausibility. Okay. They're saying that the Chinese currency will become the new global reserve currency and overtake the U.S. as a major economic power. Now, they're doing this based on the differences in purchasing power, what people earn and spend in their respective domestic markets. So by that criteria, the Chinese economy will grow from 11.2 trillion, and it has, from 2011, and it will get to 19 trillion in 2016.
Well, the thing is, let me interject here, is that's not too off as a prediction because a lot of people want to get away from the petrodollars, which is U.S. currency, and go to some other kind of currency in general. And there's been several different currencies that they were talking about putting into this one basket to use and to try to get away from the U.S. currency. So, yeah, that's very plausible.
Whoever the next president is, whether it's Trump or Hillary, they will get to preside over our downfall.
Well,
like Rome.
And in all fairness, they pretty much said Obama was going to be the president that was going to preside over our downfall. So here comes the hope and optimism that you love so much from me, is that it hasn't happened now, and I've got my eyes wide open to see if it happens later.
Yep. And guess what? I'm out of material.
Okay, well, that's great. Well, going on to some of the things that you just did, I talked about Trump winning the GOP, Hillary winning the election. I think that we're geared for. It's been a while since we've had a significant attack on the U.S. like the 9/11.
Yeah, they're saying there will be another terrorist attack on
a significant terrorist.
Yeah.
I mean, one, you can tell that it's not workplace violence, that it's not. I hate this movie, so I'm going to kill everybody in the movie, or I'm going to shoot children at a school ground. Nothing like that. It'll be something significant that everybody will be able to know, hey, it's not us, this is them kind of situation. We're also predicting a major hurricane maybe in June.
That's plausible.
We're very overdue for one here.
Yeah.
So sometime in June, we're talking about one that a hurricane that comes in with the middle finger sticking up and saying, "I'm going to take you out." So something like that is coming down the pipe. Maybe.
I wonder if he'll be wearing circus pants.
Well, one can only dream. It would make the hurricane landing that much more enjoyable. I think there's going to be a major announcement from NASA. I think it's going to be tied into possible the drive they've been working on for space travel.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. So they've been working on this thing, and it's been kind of hush-hush every once in a while. There's been something that's been released out saying, hey, we've done this. This looks good. So look for something for NASA on, space travel. And if
I just don't know. Can we trust NASA anymore? What they say, what they found? I mean, how long do you think they sat on that water?
I think that
announcement
that we can't just jump to conclusions based upon what we've read on or what we've seen about pictures and NASA documenting things. There are still a lot of good people that work at NASA that believe in what NASA is about. So we just can't go off the deep end and just say, let's flush them out completely. I mean, one can only hope and believe that maybe one day when the curtain is revealed that they've been up to this and all this, and now we can participate, that kind of thing is what I'm hoping for. So, yeah, space travel, I can imagine that would greatly cut the time that it takes to get to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be kind of cool. Summer, if you've been thirsting for water, guess what? It's going to be another hot summer and drought aplenty. And I really feel bad for those folks out in California because, they are in a crisp situation. I've seen commercials where, or a news article I watched where they're painting their yard green to make it look like it's, fresh and new.
That's sad. Why not replace it with AstroTurf?
Well, that is plausible too. So, yeah, I don't think it's going to be good. I think we'll continue to have here in like Texas, we're going to either get hit by a major hurricane. I see a possibility of tornadoes coming down through.
Oh, yeah.
Major tornadoes. Also, when you were mentioning volcanoes, predictions for a major volcano to erupt in Japan.
Yeah, I think they're overdue.
They're overdue, too. And plus, Japan is on the ring of fire. So it's just inevitability for that earthquake zone to just open up and spew out.
I don't mean to be irreverent, but I still want to make some kind of chili gag there. Chili reference, Ring of Fire.
Oh. Well, I was thinking more like, now I can't even think of, what's his name? Oh, Ring of Fire.
Johnny Cash?
Thank you very much. And then a plus possible, I know this sounds gruesome, and I'm not advocating or anything. Possible deaths this year could be the Queen of England.
That will be
significant.
Yeah, because they tend to live for a while.
Well, she's lived for a while
because they get excellent care.
And possibly Fidel Castro could probably be.
I didn't know he was still.
Yeah, he's still. Well, the country's being run by his brother. I can't remember his name, but it'll come to me later as well.
Bubba Castro.
Yeah. So, two significant deaths this year. I think is going to be the Queen and Castro. I would hope that it's not, but long live the Queen. So,
what possible difference will it make to anything? I don't know.
Well, it's just interesting. I guess it falls into our history and pop culture and all that other stuff. So, those are some of the things that I have.
Did forget one, I think.
Oh, you do? Great.
Just
awesome.
One.
Well, tell me your one.
Bitcoin and its enabler, blockchain, will continue to rise in usage and popularity because it's just too solid and too secure.
Mm-hmm. Which, incidentally, I'm glad you brought that up because that's possibly a future show that we're going to be doing here, too, according to the schedule that I'm looking at.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, with that said, we are out of predictions, and we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, I expect you to call in, which is 713-701-5214. Yes, 713-701-5214.
Don't say it like that. It's hard to understand.
713-701-5214.
Yeah, you were kind of singing.
I was singing it. It was, in the groove. Anyway, we'll be right back after these messages.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Yes, it is. It is us. It's Spaceboy and the lovely Sir Lana. Say hello, Sir Lana.
Hey.
So, with such enthusiasm, that's why I married you. So, the lines are open, 713-701-5214. Was that slow enough that time?
I guess so. I mean, I'm putting it in there, and I guess I could tweet it.
And for our dyslexic audience, it's 412-510-7317. So, if you can, go ahead and give us a call, and we are standing by.
So what happens if no one calls and we've got nothing to say? Do we just go to bed early?
No, but I was thinking that we probably will go to Denny's for celebratory pancakes.
After this?
After this, yes.
Okay.
I'm up for some pecan waffle or pecan pumpkin pancakes or whatever. They were delicious last time we went.
Yeah, we went after.
Mm-hmm.
And we took a picture.
Mm-hmm. Hey, I know people are hesitant to call in, but we do have Space Swag to give away for those lovely people that give a call into our place. And one of the big things from our Space Swag that I'm looking at the Space Swag bucket, boy, did I say that 3 times fast, is we have a lot of Hot Wheels cars. Now, these aren't just any Hot Wheels cars, let me tell you. These cars, let me pull one out of the thing, is Herbie the Love Bug, which that is cool looking. There's another one in here that is the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. We even have a DeLorean or 2 in our bucket here to give out. And so a lot of cool stuff. If by just calling, you can win a prize by just calling in. Part of our Space Swag. So
somebody wants to know if you can hook up Speaker to Cast Live TV, which I don't think it's strictly audio, isn't it?
I guess live. As far as
you're toying with a notion of having live video, but it would just be on you during the broadcast.
We are at some point going to have video along with the show, and of course, the lovely Sir Lana has a laser pointed at me to make sure that I do not take any pictures of her or anything like that.
Oh, you know better than that.
Yeah, well, I do know better than that. And so, so she's a little camera shy, and I will have
I'm not camera shy, I'm camera angry.
Well, see, there you go, people.
You point one at me, I punch it to the ground.
Sir Lana is the creator of great things like Nerd Knacks and other cool circus pants names that get generated out onto the universe. And I guess, where was I going with this? If you don't want to mess... Oh, wait, we get a call here. Let me answer this call.
Cool. Thank goodness.
Caller, you're on the air. Thanks for saving us.
Well, I'm always glad to save you.
Hello. How are you, Fran?
I'm not Fran.
Oh, wait, this is Beverly then.
Did you say friend?
Oh, you got it. You got it.
How are you this lovely evening?
Oh, I'm just fine. How was your holiday?
Well, we're glad that it's over. I mean, is that positive?
Yeah.
I love them too, but I'm always glad when they're over.
Yes. Yeah, we, as far as New Year's, we were in bed by 11 p.m.
Yeah.
We didn't even
It's just
bother.
another day.
Really?
Yeah, we didn't even bother staying up. It was like, whatever. We're just so excited for 2016 to just be here,
Yeah. I always like to watch the ball drop.
Good night, everybody.
Get your circus pants back on.
Now, behave.
Well, do you have a prediction for us, or?
I don't know.
Or do you have
I
any
can't
hopes
really think.
or wishes you want to see happen in 2016?
Yes, I hope that it's a better year than last year, and we have no more terrorist attacks.
Well,
It's not looking good.
I know, but I can always hope and wish and pray.
and that's what matters, is because that's when we abandon hope. What else do we have to
Yep.
live for?
That's true. You have nothing.
Yes, exactly. So, Fran,
Yeah,
Beverly, sorry, I have Fran on the brain because of probably because I'm thinking about next week's show. Beverly, you called in last time, and so we need you to get hooked up with an address so we can send you some space swag. So,
Okay.
So we have space swag that needs to come to you. In fact, we have a digital. This is going to tongue tie. We have the digital copy of Digital, which is available for download for you. Which
That's
is,
his latest music CD.
and then I will
Cool.
and then I'll pull something cool out of the space swag box here and send that to you as well. So what I'm going to tell you to do is go ahead and send an email to Solana, which is Solana at spaceboyuniverse.com.
I'll type it in there.
Okay.
And I think she's typing it in. So yeah, get us your mailing address and we'll get you hooked up. We'll take care of you, dear.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
Well, thanks for calling in, sweetie. We appreciate you calling in.
Well, I appreciate your show.
Oh, well, we appreciate you tuning in along with the other two.
And we appreciate you chatting too.
You what?
Appreciate you chatting with us too.
Oh, I love to talk.
All right.
I love to talk.
Well, keep listening and stay in the sand pit, as we're calling it right now, and we'll continue to talk to you there. Okay, dear?
No problem.
Have a great evening.
But you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Somebody in chat just said, I need to start a radio show. All the cool kids are doing it these days. Well, that is another prediction I read, that podcasts will be on the rise.
Ooh, who would have thunk it? Hey, looks like we're on a roll here. We're taking another caller.
Yay!
Caller, you're on the air. This is Spaceboy.
Spaceboy, it's Fran.
Yes, Fran.
They got it figured out now. It's Fran.
How are you, Beverly? I mean, how are you, Fran?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I am fantastic, and so is Solana, right, Solana?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, Fran, are you excited about... I'm so excited because I'm actually talking to you, so please forgive me, about our next week's guest.
Who is it?
It is a Star Trek person.
Amenu Intirami.
Oh, cool. He played Ichep. Yeah. He was the oldest Borg kid that they picked up on in this abandoned Borg ship.
Right. Oh, yeah, that should be excellent.
Yes, it's going to be exciting. That's why I immediately thought of you because of your love for Star Trek. And so I expect you to be there and be square and listen to us next week.
Okay, well, definitely.
And think up a question or something.
Yeah, if you think of a question or whatever, yeah. So do you have a prediction or a hope or wishes for this coming year?
Not really. I kind of figured things are going to go just the way they've been going, and when the election happens, there's going to be a lot of happy people, and there's going to be a lot of pissed off people. Just like always.
Just like always. I have to agree with you on that end. I mean, I try to be optimistic about most things, but in the United States at this time, we're just so divisive as a country. There's half of us is one way, and the other half is the other way, and there's no pleasing either half of us. And to be honest with you, I think this goes back to the election with George Bush and Al Gore is when this all started. And started pissing both sides off. So, like I said, this is not a political show by any stretch of the imagination, but, it's hard not to realize when, with me, I want to get along with everybody. And it's heartbreaking at times when you do see some friends that are out there that are so politically divisive or just so angry, and there's just no reason to be angry. I mean, I just want to get along with you. I know you have maybe a different opinion than I am, but can't we meet in the middle somewhere like we used to? And
or just not even talk about it.
Right, exactly.
Agree to disagree.
Exactly. And I mean, let's live our lives.
I've had my fair share of people screaming at me in the face, calling me every name in the world, but I'm like looking at them going, wow, what is wrong with you?
Fran, do you have an opinion on maybe Obama announcing disclosure or anything like that?
I don't think he will.
None of them ever have.
I really don't. It's my opinion. I don't think he wants to be known for that. I think he'd done that one exec order on guns in California about the police, being able to take guns away from people who obviously shouldn't have them. And I'm not real happy with that. And then today I see that he's going to do more exec orders on the same thing. And I think he would rather be known for the one who took the guns out, like everybody's been saying he was going to, and now he's doing it. And it kind of cracks me up. It's like, what? Because that was totally unexpected to me.
Well,
you've heard disclosure.
You've heard.
I doubt it.
You've heard here in Texas now is open carry.
As of today, we're open carrying.
And I guess we make the 48th state to do that. Of course, my beef on that is that open carry, but you still can't carry it into some businesses. Businesses will not let you bring them in.
Business has to post it out there visible saying no
That's
guns.
what they did here in Arizona finally.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's been a couple, 2-3 years ago where you didn't have to go get a carry permit or anything.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I see people all the time with guns. And even back before they switched it, where I live in the middle of the state, it's a pretty rural area, it's lots of space and everything. And you just assume at least one in every building, if not more, is carrying. Even my women friends, they all carry weapons in their purse. And I don't carry mine with me, but I keep it here at home.
Well, let me tell you a quick story. When Cirlana and I met, she was packing heat. And so I had no idea that she was prepared to blow my kneecaps off if it came down to it. So.
Well, I was a woman alone, living alone for the first time. And so, had to make sure I could identify him in a lineup and be able to blow his kneecaps off.
And now that we're married, that has been, now that it's out all in the open, she says, you can leave at any time, but you're going to be leaving with no kneecaps whatsoever. So
no dignity, no kneecaps, no mobility from the waist down.
I think she's a keeper. What do you think, Ann?
I think she's a keeper.
Well, do you have any other? Do you have any other thoughts for us or anything like that?
Well, I was kind of hoping in December that the Pope was going to do the disclosure, and I do still have the feeling that if anybody's going to do it, it's going to be the Pope.
That is an interesting angle.
He had some proclamation or some statement he made about how they recognize alien life forms or they just recognize that they exist or something about that, or
right.
Yeah. He did a real soft disclosure.
Right.
So I wouldn't doubt it if it's sometime in the future. I mean, if push comes to shove, he may actually come out and blurt it out,
Well, we can only hope. Maybe it'll convince Cirlana that aliens are out there and not the ones crossing our border.
Right.
But hey, friend, before you go, we'd like to send you some space swag, so make sure to contact Cirlana. And we'll get you a little something in the mail, and just as a small appreciation. And on top of that, we want to make sure that you are with us next week because, like I said, it is a Star Trek episode, if there ever was one. It's a significant episode for us.
Trying not to fangirl.
Yeah, it's our first interview major interview
with a famous person.
A celebrity. So we're very excited, and so make sure you tune in next Saturday for us.
I will.
All right.
Will.
So
okay.
You have a wonderful evening.
Happy New Year, you guys.
You too, Fran.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So that was Fran.
Yay, Fran and Bev.
Yes.
That's two people that like us.
Yes. So, the next week's show is going to be awesome. I am excited about that. Maybe I'll get my mouthing gear, a little less stuttering, into Ramey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good.
Into Ramey. And how much has Star Wars made?
Oh, well, you tell me. I've heard that it passed Titanic, as far as
$652 million is the one that I can find.
Ka-ching. And you heard Lucas went off the deep end.
No, I didn't hear that.
Well, I was kind of telling you how he seems a little bitter about selling the rights to Star Wars to Disney, and it's almost like that epic rap video that we saw with Jim Henson and Stan Lee for the battle rap thing.
Oh yeah. You like your epic rap battles.
And at the end, it has Disney like, "Hey, I own you, so get to work," kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. Okay, now here's the January 1st estimate: $686,425,583 domestic. Still haven't seen it. I could probably go the rest of my life not seeing it.
Well, as I said,
I'm a Trekkie.
I wasn't going to trek myself. Pardon the expression.
Trek yourself before you wreck yourself.
I wasn't going to trek myself out there on opening premiere night to see it. So sometime in January, I will see it. And we were watching a video, I guess, on YouTube where it showed people. We saw adults turn into kids. Because of watching the clip.
Yeah. They watched the trailer for the first time. We got to see their reactions,
right.
The first reactions to the first trailers.
And that was kind of like me,
I should have had a camera on you because I never saw you tear up like that before.
I kind of like had to turn away a little bit. And it was like, Chewbacca, Han Solo.
Yeah.
So it's all good in the neighborhood.
I've read and heard enough spoilers and Easter eggs and
I have
plot summaries.
Honestly,
I guess I pretty much lived it. I don't have to see it now.
I went ahead and read the spoiler anyway because I figured there was going to be some jive turkey out there that would go ahead and spoil it for the rest of us.
Now that it's out,
Now that it's out, and just so that I could be on top of it and be prepared. But it's not going to detract in any way, fashion, form for me to actually see the Star Wars movie. I haven't gotten to see the James Bond movie. I guess I'll get to see that when it comes out digitally. I guess I just waited too long on that. Plus,
no, we won't spoil it. Don't worry.
We know. Yeah, we're not going to spoil it. No, we wouldn't do that to you. As far as December in a sense that it was a month that we're glad it's behind us, and I'm sure good times are ahead.
December was a kick in the circus pants, if you pardon the expression.
I was going to say circus peanuts, but
Yeah, I just, I'm just glad it's over. I don't know why it was so difficult. I don't know why the holidays were just like, can you just please be over? Can you just please be over?
One can only hope that it gets better from here on out. All right. So, anything else you want to throw in the mix here?
Well, before we abandon 2015 forever,
lay it on.
You want to hear about 30 things that turned 30 years old?
I'm open to hear them because I'm
beyond, in 2015, courtesy of Mental Floss.
I'm beyond 30, so go for it.
In 2015, Back to the Future turned 30.
Great Scott!
We actually got to live through October 21st, 2015, which was displayed on the, what do you call the display for the time?
The display time? Yeah.
In the car.
Yeah, the LCD readout.
All right. And I don't know why they say, things that turn 30, because some of these things don't exist anymore. One of these things that turned 30 years old is New Coke, which tasted suspiciously to me like Pepsi.
Ugh. Catch the wave.
Hold on. I'm having to give out mail address.
Now that you bring up New Coke, you got to finally see 2 episodes of Max Headroom.
Yes. Okay. If anybody remembers the show Max Headroom, I had to go do a little research on this because when it came out in the 80s, I saw it, but I wasn't quite mentally developed enough to get it,
Let me backtrack here for a second to put it all in perspective so people can start laughing at me. Is that I kept calling Thomas Edison Ed Carter. Or
Edison Carter.
Edison Carter.
Thomas Edison's Edison Carter?
This is Edison Carter live for 23.
I was like, why are you doing that?
I had Max Headroom on the brain. I just don't know why. It's not like I was reading or anything. It's just, I guess every time I heard Edison, I could hear Edison Carter, Matt Fuhrer, say his little punchline when he's doing his reporting thing. So you got to see it, 2 episodes. There's a few more out there.
Yeah, there's a bootleg, but that's the only way you can get it. You either have to buy it or dig up your VHSs where you taped it from the TV.
Yeah, it was. It's only on DVD. It's not digital in a digital format.
But we saw the first 2, and I'm like, hey, I actually understand this now.
Yeah.
The look and feel of that TV show was very. Pardon me. It looked like it was filmed through a colonoscopy camera. It just, it was dark around the edges. It's sort of almost kind of fish-eyed, but not all the way. It had a sort of a Mad Max / Blade Runner feel.
So basically,
but not that cheerful.
It was filmed and it was dark, and you had a feeling you were worried that you didn't know what was coming your way.
Yeah, it was sort of, the 80s loved their dystopia
and that's exactly,
ideas, which is what we're living in now. So another thing that turned 30, that song, We Are the World, USA for Africa. And also Live Aid. WrestleMania 1. The game Pictionary turned 30 in 2015. The discovery of the Titanic wreckage turned 30 years old. And this one cracks me up, and I could say some things. We Built This City by Starship turned 30 years old, and they say it was voted the worst song of all time. So the thing is, if you're going to say we built this city on rock and roll, should not the song you're singing be rock and roll and not like contemporary adult radio sounding song?
Top 40.
Shouldn't it have been Kiss singing that? Maybe that's why it was hated, because it was maybe it was like an oxymoron.
Or it could have been that they felt like the members of Starship were sellouts because of
what it was?
Jefferson Airplane.
You know what it was? That song was so overplayed, and they drove it into the ground, and people learned to hate it because it was overplayed. Mm-hmm. Something else that turned 30 in 2015, Guns N' Roses, DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince, Indigo Girls, Jane's Addiction, and Crowded House.
Wow. Don't dream it's over.
This you probably know, in 2015, Nintendo Entertainment System turned 30. Now, this is where you could talk about, we saw there may be somebody predicted that there could be a new NES platform or box or whatever.
There's no, I don't think it's too much of a secret that the Wii, I guess it's Wii U, hasn't been a big success for Nintendo. However, from what I heard that's coming down the pipe is that they've been secretly working on a new system that is supposedly...
Crowdfunded?
No.
Or is this something else? Okay.
You're thinking of the Sega Dreamcast.
Oh, the Sega Dreamcast, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, different thing altogether. But the next version of Nintendo is going to... like rock and roll like nobody's business, from what I've heard. But they've always tried to be family friendly and family orientated as far as their games are concerned. But it'll be interesting to see what the next version of Nintendo comes out. And I've been listening to a book on Nintendo and I guess Super Mario Brothers in general, which has been pretty good. And I'm looking up the title as I speak, just so I can tell the lovely space cadets out there. It's called Super Mario by Jeff Ryan. And it's been an interesting book, and it talks about basically Nintendo's whole history.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, maybe we can cover that in a future program, and I see that maybe in the next several months about video games. But yeah, Nintendo, new machine coming to a theater near you.
Well, I hope it's better than the Wii U because I don't get what that was for.
Well, they added a peripheral which you could play, and it had a screen on it, so that you could play the game with the TV, or you could break away from it, which was quite a departure from the previous one, which was the Wii, which just had the one controller NUC or whatever you want to call it that you could play, and quite inventive, less buttons to push as well. They've had some interesting technology, to say the least. We'll just have to wait and see what comes
I know
next.
you like the Wii or / just Nintendo because they have games you can only play on.
Well,
because you're a Donkey Kong Mario guy from back in the day.
Well, I do like those games. Galaxia, games from Midway, the games from Nintendo, the games from Atari, the things that were in the arcade, like in the I guess between 1980 to 83, when arcade was king. I do like those games: Robotron, Joust, Pac-Man.
I remember trying to play Joust on the arcade box, the arcade, and I guess I was too young. I could never get that thing to work. It was just too much going on.
So good stuff. So that's my nerd game talk there for now.
Alrighty. Another thing that turned 30, or do you want to just cut it right there?
No, well, let's just take our final break of the evening, and then when we come back, we'll continue down a little bit more of this discussion we're doing. Possibly get somebody else to call in at 713-701-5214. And this is Sir Lana and Spaceboy, and Spaceboy and Sir Lana at the universe, Spaceboy universe.
Okay.
We'll be back after this.
You're listening to Spaceboy Universe, your cosmic tour de force.
Techno, dance, atmospheric moods? Yes, my friends. My latest release, Digital, has something for everyone. Even makes a great gift for Grandma. Buy your digital download at spaceboymusic.com.
To call in, dial area code 713-701-5214. You are listening to Spaceboy Universe. Here are your hosts, Spaceboy and Sir Lana.
Yes, we're back, and I just sent the howdy into the sand pit, and hopefully everybody gets my howdy. I hope everybody's doing wonderful this evening as we're barreling down to the last half hour of our show. So when we left, Sir Lana was about to talk a little bit about some other things that had turned 30 this past year.
One thing that turned 30 was that movie Mask with Cher.
Eric Stoltz.
And Eric Stoltz.
Which was the original person who was supposed to play on
Marty McFly.
Back to the Future, exactly.
They said they will release that footage someday.
Well, I've seen the footage, or seen clips of it.
More of it.
I think they made a great decision by going with...
he just doesn't strike me as having comedic chops, Eric Stoltz.
Well, you know what's interesting is when I watched the thing with Eric Stoltz, it feels like an 80s movie.
Because Eric was in tons of 80s movies.
Yeah, that and then
iconic
plus
80s movies.
Some of the I guess he was wearing this jacket that's very 80-ish. But then, I don't know.
So was Marty with that denim jacket. That was terribly 80s and 70s.
I don't know. I just find it less 80s with him playing that role than Michael J. Fox playing that role. But anyway, so you were go on. Continue.
Also, something that turned 30 was Mask, M-A-S-K, which is a a cartoon TV series that appeared in 1985. It was kind of a mashup between G.I. Joe and Transformers. I never saw it. I kind of remember seeing that name in the cartoon lineup. 30 years old in 2015, the discovery of the hole in the ozone layer. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Turned 30. I think this was Madonna's big year.
We're getting a call here.
Oh, awesome. I was trying to stretch it.
Caller, you're on the air.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey, this is Barrett.
Hello, Barrett.
Hey, it's Barrett.
How are you this evening?
I'm absolutely fine. Sitting here with my sweetheart, enjoying a couple of boat drinks. Still, New Year's Day is not over yet.
Yeah, really? Did you have a good one?
Really? Well, I mean, to be honest, actually, she had to work New Year's Eve, so I went to bed around. I mean, I beat you guys by a long way. I was in bed by 7 o'clock at night. But,
We've done that many a time.
Yeah, but she's got the weekend off, so we're sort of having a late New Year's. Went out for Indian tonight, and now we're sitting here listening to you guys having boat drinks.
Well, thank you. Appreciate
Awesome.
it. Yes. So,
Absolutely.
do you have any hopes, predictions, or any goodness or badness for this year?
Well, I always hope for goodness. Goodness is, I'm an eternal optimist, but I did get a little bit miffed when I was flipping I just flipped through some channels this morning trying to wake up, and they made a just very matter of fact report on the news that the NSA had been spying on Netanyahu and on members of Congress.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, they just sort of like mentioned that and just had one congressman going, we're going to investigate this and that. And that's when I tweeted out my one angry tweet in a long time. I thought, wait a minute, they're listening to conversations of members of Congress. And, all Nixon did was go in and, send them in to read a few papers on McGovern. How can this not be a front page story? How can this not be just like crazy, illegal, subversive, I don't get it. It's like so many other things now that are accepted almost as, they just sort of mention this crazy, corrupt stuff that happens, and
it's no big deal. When it happened with Nixon, it was like, oh my God, we've got to roast this guy, we got to throw him into the pit, and now that it's turned, what's good for the goose is not good for the gander, kind of thing. And then I agree with you. They've kind of like just buried this in the holidays where, it didn't get much coverage whatsoever. And
right.
And
just the same thing with the email dumps.
Mm-hmm.
Another 100,000 confidential emails that got dumped on New Year's Eve, so that doesn't get coverage.
Right.
I mean, that's also becoming the norm. It's like, we'll just, we'll throw all the illegal crap out on, Friday afternoon, or, when something blows up, and it'll just get swept under the rug. But I mean, it's just, I don't mean to be political, and it's not, it's just,
it's about doing the right thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
And then manufacturing distractions stories.
What happened to principles?
Right. The integrity. Yeah.
Ended after World War II, I think.
Yeah. Well, a tad before that. Yeah, but you're right. I've read and re-listened to Operation Paperclip, from Jim Mars and a number of other books that, address that whole thing. And that just, if that doesn't open your eyes up to what can go wrong, what can be done, and what how subversive everything could be, nothing will. But I mean, at least they tried to hide it.
Right.
Now they don't. It's just in your face. And I think that's what I find most disturbing, is the fact that it's in your face. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you finally conditioned me to be okay with being lied to. And now you're going to shove it in my face.
Yeah. And I hate that they manufacture distraction stories sometimes just to cover that up.
Sure. I agree with that. But now the reality is so bizarre and so twisted that I think they're going to make the false flags obsolete, because the reality is so strange. Mm-hmm. And I'm sorry, but that's it for me. Other than that, unless Hillary goes to jail and they impeach Obama, other than those two ugly things happening, then I think we'll be okay.
Well, let's be eternal optimistic people, my friend, and hope for the best.
Hopeless optimistics.
Yeah, hopeless optimistics.
That's what I call y'all.
That's what I'm going to put my best foot forward and hope for the best, and that's all we can do.
Well, like I said to Gene the other day, or I tweeted to Gene the other day, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let him win. I'm going to have a great 2016, and it's
awesome.
going to be okay.
You kick butt, Barrett.
Well, Barrett, we appreciate you calling, and we're going to go
I
ahead.
appreciate you guys being there.
Yeah, well, just keep on tuning in, my friend.
You can't get rid of us.
Outstanding.
All right, you have a great evening, my friend.
Hey, you two guys. Love you both, and enjoy your evening. Happy New Year.
Happy New
Year.
Not
too late to say it again.
Not a problem. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Well, going from one caller to the next. Caller, you're on the air.
Woo-hoo.
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear us?
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Awesome.
I just wanted to answer Barrett's question about why that stuff is not in the news.
Well, go ahead and shoot. First off, who is this again?
This is Luciferious.
Hey,
oh, wow.
All right.
New one.
Yes, new caller.
Yeah,
new meat.
Lay it on us.
I am the furious bringer of the light.
Okay.
So, basically, you've got 6 corporations, if that own all of the media. So they just read scripts these days. There's not much journalism that goes on.
Exactly.
So they read a storyline that's pitched to them from above, and that comes from who knows where.
And you're pretty much spot on, because you can go. I've seen where they do clips where it's the talking points, and they go from person to person to person, from different news media to different news media, and they're saying the exact same thing. So that just makes me feel sick to my stomach and thinking they're giving us all the same garbage, and this is what's it's coming from the top.
Right, and some of the scripts are even wrong. If over the summer, when they found part of that MH370 plane, allegedly,
right,
the day they found it, CNN, and I actually have it recorded. They said this is the first piece of 370 that's been found, even before it had been identified.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I mean, take it for what it is. That's what it seems to me to be the case.
It does make you think, and makes you scratch your head. Do you think that well, the thing is here in this situation, when you listen to talk shows like ours, like Beyond the Strange, and even Jimmy's show, Fade to Black, to name a few, we're kind of enlightened. We've opened our eyes, we see what's going on, we hear what's going on, so we're enlightened to this. However, when you're talking about the sheeple, the people that are just sheep, they have no clue as to what's going on. And when you try to tell them, initially they're just so fogged over from being in the Matrix-like situation that it's going to take them to take the red or the blue pill to make them either wake up or continue in their slumber. But all we can do as enlightened ones of the issues. Is just make sure that, hey, we don't fall down into that pit and go from there.
Okay, I took a course.
Let me say one
Go
thing.
ahead.
Let me say one thing to that point, if I may.
Go for it.
I agreed with you. I learned that lesson early on, and what I've learned to do is to plant seeds, not to convert.
Mm-hmm.
You're never going to convert someone to your view. I'm sure you can ask your wife if that's true or not.
Oh, no.
I still won't watch zombie movies. I still find them boring.
So what you want to do is plant seed of something bigger in their head, and they'll think about it. And then, you get it in their subconscious. At least you've opened their mind, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the goal, is opening people's minds. So don't start talking about how the Nazis took over the government, and don't go into UFOs and Roswell's real, and they're just going to say you're crazy. Just say, hey, what do you think about this? And just plant that seed and let it grow.
And I agree with you on that point. And because in this day and age, it's very difficult to convert anybody over from a different opinion when they're so entrenched in that opinion. And the best you can do is just plant the idea and let it grow from there. So it's a good thought.
That's kind of biblical.
Yeah, try and tell a Catholic there's no God. It's like, it's impossible.
Well, you just live your life by example rather than telling them, hey, blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, thank you for having me on.
Well, hey, since you're a first-time caller...
yes, I want the DeLorean.
You want the DeLorean?
Okay, go ahead and make sure to send Solana an email, and
I will.
And put it in your email, and we'll hook you up with a time machine.
And tell me if the email's working, because I think it is. But
I actually have a flux capacitor watch.
Oh, cool.
That
I bought on ThinkGeek.
Oh, yeah. So one of my favorites.
It'll go really good with that.
We just put up all our shelvings, and all our nerd knacks are on full display.
Okay, excellent.
So, yeah,
all right, Happy New Year, guys.
Send us an email. We'll get you hooked up.
Thank you for calling.
Okay.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.
All right, another caller.
Jeez, this is so freaking awesome. It's a whole new world.
But yeah, as we continue to build the audience, it's only going to get better.
I got to write this stuff down. Yeah, he wants a DeLorean. Fran wants a Mystery Machine.
Yes. So you get them hooked up great. So we're heading down to the last 15 minutes of the show.
But what does Bev want?
Well, Bev, we owe her...
You want a love bug? You want a Herbie the love bug, Bev?
We'll get her hooked up with that. And of course,
I think of love bug when I think of Bev.
Well, that's so nice.
What's that? Well, that's nice, dear.
Isn't that special? So... any other thoughts?
Something that turned 30, but it's dead, is Blockbuster Video. It turned 30 in 2015, if it was still around.
Well, Blockbuster's failure is that they refused to accept the reality. What killed them was Netflix. Mm-hmm. Netflix was...
but didn't they have a chance to grab the online market, and they didn't take it?
They had a chance to do it, and it just failed to do it. Which gets me is, who owns Blockbuster? Paramount.
Oh,
and as in the indirect, how you had to follow the chain of a thing. I used to work for them many years ago. That's why I love movies. In fact,
but those were the good days.
Those were the good days too. Working 2 jobs, and I only worked there because my best friend worked there, and we hung out together, and it was like a scene from Clerks. And I was Dante, and he was. I can't think of the other guy's name now. That it eludes me.
Yeah, I can never remember the blonde one's name.
So, but yeah, those were good times, and I saw a lot of movies. Let me tell you. So
she says she does want the love bug.
Awesome.
Another thing that turned 30 in 2015: the first smoking ban in U.S. restaurants.
Really?
Calvin and Hobbes turned 30 years old.
See, going back to the smoking thing, I remember going to places, even like a movie theater, where you were allowed to smoke in a movie theater.
Yeah, I'm that old too.
And it's funny now.
Smoking sections in restaurants, which I don't know why they bother having, because smoke got everywhere.
Well, now I go any place we go, I don't think there's even a smoking section. Funny thing is, there's a Hedwig Village down the road here.
Hedwig is its own pocket outside of Houston. It's in Houston, it's center of Houston, but it's this little pocket of. It's its own law about,
They have a restaurant called the Mason Jar.
Mm-hmm.
And in its heyday, it was pretty decent, good food. I guess if you've ever been to Chili's, it's kind of like that, but they allow you to smoke there. And they have
really because they're in their own entity out there.
Entity, but in general, most places, don't have smoking in their building now. It's kind of odd to think about that.
They smoked on planes, didn't they, back in the day?
They did smoke on planes too.
Well, yeah, one of my favorite comic strips of all time, Calvin and Hobbes, turned 30.
Mm-hmm.
Here's one: Microsoft Windows 1.0 turned 30.
Oh, that's the Microsoft 10. Sigh of I really am annoyed with Windows 10. Recently, I had a piece of software that I used for managing audio files, and all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, it did its update like a good little camper, and the next thing I know it's asking me for administrator rights to run the stupid program that's been on my machine the whole time, and now in order for me to run it, I have to hold down the shift key and run as administrator to get the dang program to run.
So Windows 10 thinks you're an idiot.
Yeah, it does think I'm an idiot. And
all people are idiots.
I mean, for the longest time, I've been a Microsoft champion of most of their products, and now they've done terrible things to my Cheerios, and I'm not liking it.
Another thing that turned 30 in 2015, the first .com. On March 15th, 1985, the first .com domain name was registered. It was symbolics.com. And the Carl Sagan's book, Contact, turned 30.
Billions upon billions of stars.
The Breakfast Club turned 30.
Hey, 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 hey.
Mm-hmm. Peak level. This says peak levels of David Lee Roth. He left on April Fool's Day in 1985. So that was, I guess, the last of Diamond Dave and Van Halen.
But I think they came back and they reunited. And
yeah, but I'm just saying that's when he first, 30 years ago when he first departed.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Let's see. I think that might be... Oh, Thundercats. Jim and the Golden Girls.
Oh!
Because they debuted in 1985. VH1, Nick at Night, Elmo, the first Letterman Top 10 list.
What about Transformers? Would they be G.I. Joe, Transformers? Well, G.I. Joe goes back into the 70s, but I imagine all those shows were around the same time period.
Here's an important thing that turned 30. Phil Collins, No Jacket Required.
What? I like that album. I think that's the album with Sussudio.
Yeah, I'm just saying it's a kind of funny thing to note.
Although it makes me sad, I think 30 and I'm like,
the first $1 million selling CD. It was Dire Straits' Brothers in Arms, sold 1 million copies on CD, outselling its vinyl release.
Sultans of Swing.
Money for Nothing.
Money for Nothing.
And that's that. So now all you got to do is figure out 8 minutes of...
Well, I have, being the musician that I am, there are a few musical groups that I've got my eyeball on that I'm going to be taking a look through 2016, and I'll just cover them real quick here. Jack Garrett, he's kind of an electronic soul R&B person, somebody to look at. Marlon Williams, he's got kind of a Nashville-ish Bob Dylan groove going. There's another group called Wet. They're kind of a Brooklyn trio. You remember that song, Anything But the Girl, or the group, Anything But the Girl?
Everything But the Girl,
something like that. Everything But the Girl. They have that sound. Something we'll definitely have to look at is Gallant. Kind of an alt R&B. And why this person is significant is Skrillex goes to his gigs. He checks him out.
Well, if Skrillex said it's okay.
Well, if he thinks it's so fabulous,
then we got to do it.
We'll definitely have to check out the Gallant. And then finally, from our neck of the woods, it's the Suffer. It's Gulf Coast Soul. It pretty much is taking off here in the southern region. It's a 10-piece band, and so they have a pretty righteous groove that they have going on, and so those are kind of artists I'm kind of looking at for this year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so maybe we'll find a diamond.
But
in
that whole thing about Spotify, Pandora, and Apple Music are all going up against each other, saying Pandora will finally go global.
What about that other one that was out there? Jay-Z's
Tidal? Yeah, it tanked. I like my Spotify. I'll keep paying for it. You can find Spaceboy music on Spotify.
Yes, always Spaceboy music on Spotify. What Pandora? You know,
I just didn't know.
You know, I have a problem with them.
I know what music I want to listen to and when, and I'll take care of it. Thanks.
Well, the thing is that for artists like me, the indie artist, you know, I'm on iTunes, I'm on Spotify, I'm on just about everywhere. The submission thing for Pandora is much different.
Yeah.
And which makes me mad because they send me an email fairly often saying, hey, your album Get Your Groove On has done this and blah, blah, blah. And I look at it as, well, I don't promote y'all anymore because you keep rejecting my submissions. So that's why I have a Pandora bug up my saddle on them. And
I don't bother. I only deal with Spotify and SoundCloud.
Well, you know, the Spotify is my main,
of course, YouTube stuff.
My main thing. I love doing the Spotify thing. So one can only hope that Spotify continues to do well and go from there. So let's see here, as I'm trying to think of some final thoughts.
5-minute final thoughts. Like I said, I don't have any hope or optimism. So
yeah, I guess I just saw a thing from Dave Cruz, our friends from Beyond the Strange, whose show is tomorrow on Sunday, and looks like what I did for him is I kind of did his opening music.
Is it okay for you to say that?
I'm reading what Dave said. But if Dave says it, then on the chat, who am I to argue with that?
All right, just making sure he didn't have it top secret.
I'm telling the story that I just redid some music for him. So, you know, and I gave it as a gift to him. And if he chooses to play it on his show, awesome. You know, we love Beyond the Strange and all the wonderful people that are over there, and we always tune in there every Sunday night at I believe it's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, and you should tune in too. They're more of a friend show, and you know, it's a great show to listen to and tune in, and when you get a chance. In fact, your weekends should start with Spaceboy Universe and end with Beyond the Strange. Enough said. And then, of course, during the week, there's that other show that you can get into called Fade to Black with Jimmy Church. I heard some big stuff coming from him.
I hear somebody, some weirdo does their intro, and some total loser has done their T-shirt designs.
What are you talking about, us? Anyway, but yeah, good show. If you get a chance.
Somebody told me I need hope. I just asked him, does it come in pill form? I'll take it.
But once again, make your weekends with Spaceboy Universe and Beyond the Strange with Dave Cruz on Beyond the Strange. And also Les is on that show, too.
Who's Les?
You know, the one you do all the characters on.
Does he wear circus pants?
He probably will in his near future.
He will soon.
Circus pants for everyone.
And there'll be pockets full of circus peanuts.
But, yeah, so I guess, you know, we're winding down the show. I hope for a great 2016 this year.
Next week.
We got over the big hurdle, of the last year. And
we'll have a Data Bites for you.
We're going to create a Data Bites segment starring K28. And that'll be not a live show, but it'll be
out next week.
It'll be out next week and ready for you to consume that.
And then, of course, next Saturday,
awesome
Star
Trek person, and we can't wait to have.
We are streaming on TuneIn.
Yeah, we are on TuneIn.
We're on TuneIn. Go to the front page of SpaceboyUniverse.com. Should be a link there.
Mm-hmm. So, Solana, with that said, let's go ahead
and put this horse to bed.
Let's put this horse to bed. So, say goodnight, Solana?
Yes.
The lovely Solana. With that said, we wish you well, and here's to 2016, and we'll catch you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Spaceboy Universe is hosted by Spaceboy and Sir Lana. Executive producer is Sir Lana. Producer credit goes out to Dennis Koch. Find Spaceboy at spaceboymusic.com and spaceboyuniverse.com. This has been a Spaceboy Universe production. You have reached your final destination. Good night, Space Cadets.